The awakening you wake up on a cold, foggy morning in Victorian London. The year is 1867, and the world moves slowly around you, like a dream wrapped in mist. Your eyes open gently to the soft gray light filtering through a small, cracked window. The glass is thin, so very thin, and you can feel the December chill seeping through each tiny fissure. Your breath creates small clouds in the air, delicate puffs of warmth that disappear quickly into the cold room. This is your home, a small attic space, no larger than a modern closet. The walls are made of rough brick, painted white long ago, but now they show patches of damp and age. The floor beneath you consists of simple wooden planks, worn smooth by countless footsteps, and they creak softly when you shift your weight. You reach into your pocket, and your fingers find a single copper penny. In 1867, this penny represents half a day's wages for the poorest workers. It weighs heavy in your palm. This small coin, carrying the profile of Queen Victoria, who has ruled for 30 years now. The fog outside your window is thick today, as it often is in London during winter months. This fog comes from the Thames River, mixing with smoke from thousands of coal fires, creating what people call pea soup fog. It moves slowly through the narrow streets, wrapping around gas lamps, and making the city feel like a gentle, sleepy world. Your small room contains few possessions. A thin straw mattress lies on the floor, covered with a wool blanket that has been mended many times. The stitches show care. Someone took time to repair this blanket, keeping it useful for staying warm. Near the window sits a small wooden crate, serving as both table and storage, holding a tin cup and a piece of hard bread from yesterday. The sounds of the city wake up slowly around you. Horses' hooves clip-clop softly on cobblestones below, their rhythm steady and soothing. A church bell chimes 7 times in the distance, marking the morning hour, its deep bronze tone echoing gently through the fog. Somewhere nearby, a milkman calls out in a voice that sounds almost musical, "Fresh milk this morning." In Victorian London, most poor families live in rooms just like this one. The government keeps careful records, and they show that in 1867, nearly 40% of London's population lives in what they call overcrowded conditions. But this morning, in the quiet fog, these statistics feel distant, like numbers from another world. You sit up slowly, feeling the wooden floor cool against your bare feet. The air smells of coal smoke, mixed with the damp earthiness that comes before rain. From somewhere below, you catch the faint scent of baking bread, warm yeast and flour, reminding you that bakeries start their work before dawn, filling their ovens with loaves that will feed the city. The walls of your building are thin, and you can hear gentle sounds from neighboring rooms. A baby cries softly, then settles back to sleep. Someone coughs quietly, then all returns to peaceful silence. These sounds create a kind of rhythm, like a lullaby made of daily life, reminding you that you share this experience with others. Victorian buildings like yours were constructed quickly, using materials that were available and affordable. The bricks were made in kilns outside London, then transported by horse and cart, while the wooden beams came from forests in Surrey and Kent. Skilled craftsmen built these structures to last, and many still stand today. Over 150 years later, you stand and move to the small window, pressing your palm against the cool glass. The street below appears and disappears in waves of fog, like scenes from a peaceful dream. Gas lamps flicker gently along the walkway, their flames dancing inside glass housings, creating small pools of golden light that fade softly into the mist. The London of 1867 runs on schedules that follow natural rhythms. People wake with the sun, work during daylight hours, and rest when darkness comes. There are no electric lights yet, no automobiles, no rushing sounds of modern machinery. Life moves at the pace of walking, of horse-drawn carts, of conversations held face to face. Your clothing hangs on wooden pegs driven into the wall. A simple wool dress, dark blue to hide stains, hangs next to a cotton. Chemise and woolen stockings. These garments were made to last, sewn by hand with strong thread, designed for daily wear rather than fashion. The wool comes from sheep in Yorkshire, the cotton from mills in Manchester, connecting you to the wider world through these simple necessities. The fog outside grows lighter now, shifting from deep gray to soft pearl. This change happens gradually, almost imperceptibly, like watching clouds drift across a summer sky. Through the mist, you begin to see the outlines of other buildings, their chimney pots releasing thin streams of smoke into the morning air. Victorian London produces its warmth from coal, brought by railway from mines in Wales and northern England. Each morning, thousands of coal fires are lit in grates throughout the city, creating the smoke that mixes with river fog to create London's famous atmosphere. The coal burns slowly, steadily, filling rooms with gentle warmth that lasts for hours. You take a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill your lungs, then release it slowly, watching your breath become visible in the chilly room. This simple act of breathing connects you to the rhythm of life, to the steady pulse that continues regardless of circumstances. Steady and reliable as the Thames flowing toward the sea. From your window, you can see part of the street market setting up below. Vendors arrive early, their horse-drawn carts loaded with vegetables from farms outside London, potatoes from Essex, apples from Kent, carrots and turnips that spent yesterday in the soil, now arranged carefully in wooden crates, ready to feed the city. The sounds from the market drift upward, gentle and rhythmic, wooden wheels rolling over cobblestones, the soft thud of crates being unloaded, voices calling greetings to familiar faces. These sounds create a symphony of daily life, peaceful and predictable, like a song that plays every morning. Your penny rests warm in your palm now, heated by your body temperature. This small coin can purchase a cup of milk, or a small loaf of day-old bread, or perhaps a hot pie from a street vendor. In 1867, choices about food require careful consideration, each purchase planned and purposeful. The morning light grows slightly brighter, filtering through the fog like sunshine through gauze. This soft illumination reveals more details of your room: the grain of the wooden floor, the texture of the brick walls, the way shadows fall gently across familiar surfaces, creating patterns that shift slowly as the light changes outside. Victorian London operates on a system of mutual support among the poor. Neighbors share resources when possible, watching children for working mothers, lending tools and household items, offering comfort during difficult times. This cooperation helps families survive, creating networks of care that extend beyond blood relations. You move slowly toward your clothes, feeling no rush or urgency. Time flows differently in the fog, more peacefully, as if the mist slows everything down to a gentler pace. Your movements feel deliberate and calm, each action considered and purposeful, like a meditation in motion. The wool dress feels soft against your fingers, worn smooth by many washings but still strong and serviceable. Victorian clothing was built for durability, using techniques passed down through generations, with seams reinforced and hems carefully finished to prevent fraying. Every garment represents hours of careful work, making each piece valuable and worthy of care. Outside your window, the fog continues its slow dance through the streets, wrapping around lamp posts, drifting between buildings, creating an atmosphere of gentle mystery that makes the familiar world seem dreamlike and peaceful. The city moves within this soft gray blanket, all sounds muffled and distant, all edges softened. You dress slowly, methodically, feeling the texture of each garment against your skin. The cotton chemise, smooth and cool. The wool dress, warm and protective. The stockings, soft and comforting around your feet. Each layer adds warmth, creating a barrier against the December cold, while allowing you to move freely through your day. The morning routine continues around you, in neighboring rooms and buildings throughout London. Thousands of people wake to similar circumstances, facing similar challenges, finding similar small comforts in familiar rituals. This shared experience creates an invisible bond, connecting you to a vast community of fellow travelers. Your reflection appears faintly in the window glass, superimposed over the foggy street scene below. The image wavers slightly, like looking at yourself in water, creating a dreamy effect that blurs the line between inside and outside, between self and surroundings, between reality and gentle reverie. The church bells chime 8 times now, marking another hour's passage, their bronze voices carrying across the city with patient regularity. In Victorian London, these bells serve as the city's timekeeper, helping people coordinate their activities, creating shared rhythm that connects individual lives to community purpose. You take one final look around your small room, noting how the growing light reveals new details, how familiar objects appear slightly different in the shifting illumination, how the space feels both intimate and part of something larger, connected to the breathing, living city beyond your walls. Your hand closes gently around the penny in your pocket, feeling its smooth edges, its reassuring weight, its potential to provide sustenance for the day ahead. This small coin represents possibility, the chance to make choices, to exercise agency even within constraints, to participate in the complex dance of survival and hope. The fog outside seems to pulse gently, growing lighter, then deeper, then lighter again, like the city breathing, like the steady rhythm of a heart at rest, creating a natural lullaby that seems designed to soothe and comfort. to remind you that you are part of something larger than yourself. Your eyelids grow heavy as you stand by the window, watching the peaceful fog drift through the streets below, feeling the gentle rhythm of the awakening city. The morning light grows softer, warmer, more golden, wrapping around you like a blanket. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. The streets of struggle, you step gently onto the cobblestone street, feeling the smooth, worn stones beneath your feet. Each cobble was cut by hand from granite quarries in Scotland, then transported by ship and cart to London, where skilled workers fitted them together like pieces of an ancient puzzle. The fog embraces you softly, like a silk shawl draped over your shoulders. It moves with you as you walk, swirling gently around your ankles, creating patterns that appear and disappear, beautiful and temporary as morning mist over a quiet lake. Your first steps echo softly in the hushed street. The sound bounces gently off brick walls, creating a rhythm that feels almost musical. Clip, pause, clip, pause, like a peaceful percussion that accompanies your morning journey. The gas lamps still flicker along your path, their flames dancing behind glass panels, casting pools of golden light that fade gradually into the gray morning air. These lamps were installed just 15 years ago, replacing oil lamps that had lit London streets since the 1700s. Progress moves slowly here, gently, like the Thames at low tide. You pass a bakery where warm light glows through steamed windows. Inside, bakers who started work at 3 in the morning are pulling loaves from brick ovens heated with coal from Wales. The scent of fresh bread drifts into the fog, yeast and flour, and the deep warmth of grain transformed by fire and time. A single loaf of bread costs fourpence in 1867, nearly half your daily wage if you can find work. But the smell, oh, the smell wraps around you like a gentle embrace, reminding you of kitchens and comfort, of the simple miracle that transforms wheat into sustenance. Your stomach responds to this aroma with a soft, quiet rumble, not urgent or demanding, just a gentle reminder of hunger, a basic need that connects you to every living creature. In Victorian London, hunger is a familiar companion, patient and persistent, but somehow softened by the fog and the peaceful morning rhythm. You walk past other early travelers. Each person moves slowly through the mist, appearing and disappearing like characters in a gentle dream. A woman carries a basket of laundry, her footsteps soft and measured. A man pushes a cart loaded with vegetables, the wooden wheels rolling smoothly over wet cobblestones. The buildings rise around you like silent guardians, their brick faces softened by moisture and mist. Victorian architects designed these structures to last for centuries, using techniques learned from Roman builders, creating walls that could withstand London's damp climate while providing shelter for generations of families. Water drips gently from roof edges, creating a soft percussion that mingles with your footsteps. Drip, step, drip, step. The rhythm feels soothing, like rain on a cottage roof, like a lullaby made of morning sounds. You notice how the fog transforms everything, making harsh edges soft, turning sharp corners into gentle curves. Even the most difficult circumstances seem somehow bearable when wrapped in this gray silk cocoon. The world becomes kinder, more forgiving, easier to navigate. A horse-drawn cart approaches slowly, its wheels barely audible on the wet stones. The horse's breath creates clouds that merge with the fog, while its hooves provide a steady four-beat rhythm. Clip-clop, clip-clop, like a heartbeat made audible. The carter nods as he passes, a simple acknowledgement between fellow travelers in the early morning. These small gestures of recognition create invisible threads, connecting strangers in shared experience, reminding you that even in struggle, community exists. You turn onto a wider street where market stalls are opening slowly. Vendors arrange their goods with careful precision. Potatoes from farms in Essex, arranged in neat pyramids. Apples from Kent orchards, polished until they shine like jewels. Carrots still bearing traces of the soil that nourished them. The prices whisper their reality. A pound of potatoes costs tuppence. A dozen eggs, 6 pence. A small chicken, 1 shilling. Each purchase requires calculation, balancing need against resources, making choices that will determine whether you eat today or tomorrow. But in the fog, even these harsh mathematics feel softened. The numbers become less sharp, less demanding. The gentle morning light seems to suggest that somehow solutions will appear, that the day holds possibilities not yet imagined. A woman arranges flowers at her stall, roses from hothouses in Richmond, their petals soft as velvet, chrysanthemums in shades of gold and bronze, sprigs of rosemary and thyme, filling the misty air with fragrances that speak of gardens and growing things. These flowers cost more than food. A single rose, 3 pence, enough to buy a hot pie, but their beauty provides nourishment of a different kind, reminding observers that life contains more than mere survival, that even in difficulty, beauty persists. You pause beside the flower stall, breathing in the mixed scents, rose petals and herb leaves, earth and growth and the mysterious alchemy that creates fragrance. For a moment, the concerns of hunger and shelter fade, replaced by simple appreciation for sensory pleasure. The flower seller smiles gently, recognizing your appreciation. These small moments of connection happen constantly in London's markets, brief exchanges that acknowledge shared humanity, reminders that kindness costs nothing but offers immeasurable value. You continue walking, feeling your penny warm against your palm. This copper coin connects you to Britain's economic system, to mines in Cornwall where tin was extracted, to the Royal Mint where skilled craftsmen created thousands of identical pieces, each one carrying the same potential, the same promise of exchange. The fog begins to lift slightly, revealing more details of the street scene. Window boxes filled with winter herbs, doorways painted in deep blues and greens, the intricate ironwork that decorates Victorian buildings, each element crafted by hand, designed to last, to provide beauty as well as function. A chimney sweep walks past, his equipment slung over his shoulder, ready to climb narrow flues and clean away the soot that accumulates from coal fires. His work is dangerous, difficult, but essential for keeping London's thousands of fireplaces working safely. His presence reminds you that every job, no matter how humble, serves the greater community. You notice how sounds carry differently in the fog. Voices seem to come from farther away. Footsteps echo longer. Even your own breathing becomes more noticeable, creating an intimate soundscape that makes the crowded city feel peaceful, almost private. The morning light grows gradually stronger, not harsh or sudden, but gentle and progressive, like dawn over a calm sea. This slow transition allows your eyes to adjust naturally, makes the changing world feel comfortable rather than startling. A coffee house opens its doors, releasing the rich aroma of roasted beans. Coffee comes to London from plantations in Ceylon and Jamaica, transported by sailing ships that take months to cross the oceans, bringing exotic flavors to foggy English mornings. But coffee costs 6 pence a cup, a luxury beyond your current means. Still, you can enjoy the fragrance, can imagine the warmth spreading through your body, can appreciate this small gift that costs nothing but attention. You pass a group of children walking to school, their voices creating a gentle chorus in the misty air. Victorian education is expanding, slowly but steadily, providing opportunities that previous generations never imagined. These children represent hope, the possibility that circumstances can improve, that knowledge opens doors. The children wear clothes similar to yours, practical wool and cotton, designed for durability rather than fashion, but their faces show curiosity, eagerness, the natural optimism that young people carry like an internal light. Their presence adds energy to the peaceful morning, reminding you that life continues, grows, evolves. A dog trots past, its tail wagging gently, stopping to investigate interesting scents, then continuing on its mysterious canine mission. Animals adapt to city life with remarkable grace, finding joy in simple pleasures, teaching humans about resilience and contentment. The fog swirls around building corners, creating small whirlwinds that dance for a moment, then dissolve. These ephemeral sculptures appear and disappear continuously. Temporary art created by air and moisture, beautiful precisely because they cannot be captured or preserved. You realize that your walking has become a meditation, each step deliberate and calm, each breath coordinated with your movement. The gentle rhythm creates a sense of peace that transcends immediate circumstances, connects you to something larger than daily struggle. Your penny remains secure in your pocket, its potential unchanged by your journey, but your perspective has shifted slightly. The morning walk has provided wealth that cannot be measured in coins, beauty that costs nothing, community that emerges naturally when people share common ground. The fog begins to thin, revealing glimpses of blue sky, like hope appearing through clouds. The day holds promise, not of easy answers, but of continued possibility, of chances to make choices, to exercise agency, to find meaning in simple acts of survival and connection. Your feet carry you forward automatically now, following paths, worn smooth by millions of footsteps, connecting you to the vast flow of human movement that has shaped these streets for centuries. You are part of something continuous, eternal, larger than individual struggle. The morning sounds blend into a symphony, horse hooves, cart wheels, distant voices, footsteps, all harmonizing in the gentle acoustics created by fog and stone. This natural music seems designed to soothe, to remind you that even difficult days contain moments of unexpected beauty. Your breathing has synchronized with your walking, creating a rhythm that feels both personal and universal. Each breath brings fresh fog into your lungs. Each exhale adds your warmth to the morning air. You are participating in the city's breathing, becoming part of its gentle respiration. The penny in your pocket seems to pulse with your heartbeat, a small metal heart that holds potential energy, waiting to be transformed into sustenance, into comfort, into whatever you need most as the day unfolds before you like a road disappearing into peaceful mist. Your eyelids grow heavy as you walk through the gentle fog, feeling the smooth cobblestones beneath your feet, hearing the soft sounds of the awakening city. The morning light grows softer, warmer, more golden, embracing you like a lullaby made visible. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. The daily survival challenges you find yourself standing beside the Thames River, its dark water flowing slowly eastward toward the sea. The fog lifts gently from the water's surface, creating ghostly spirals that dance and disappear, like spirits of ancient London rising to greet the morning sun. The river moves with ancient patience, carrying the weight of history in its steady current. Roman ships once sailed these waters, carrying goods from distant provinces, Viking longboats, medieval barges, and now, Victorian steamships that churn slowly through the mist, their paddle wheels creating gentle splashes that echo off stone embankments. You watch the water for a moment, mesmerized by its constant motion. Each ripple catches and reflects the pale morning light, creating thousands of tiny mirrors that flash and fade. The sight fills you with peaceful contemplation, reminding you that some things endure regardless of human struggle. A mudlark searches the riverbank nearby, a child no older than 12, looking for coal, nails, rope, anything valuable that the tide might have deposited. This work is dangerous. The Thames mud can trap unwary feet, but it provides income for London's poorest families, sometimes as much as sixpence a day. The child works methodically, patiently, turning over stones and debris with practiced hands. This quiet determination speaks to something admirable in the human spirit, the ability to find opportunity even in the most unlikely places, to transform discarded materials into sustenance. Your stomach reminds you gently of its emptiness, not with harsh demands, but with a soft hollowness that seems to echo the morning fog. In Victorian London, missing meals is common among the working poor. Bodies adapt, learning to function on less, finding energy in hope rather than food alone. You turn away from the river, walking toward the sound of bells that signals the opening of the workhouse. These institutions provide basic shelter and meals in exchange for labor, breaking stones, picking oakum, work that serves no purpose except to ensure that help comes with dignity intact. The workhouse building rises from the fog like a gray fortress, its Victorian Gothic architecture designed to inspire both awe and respect. Skilled masons crafted these walls from Portland stone, quarried on the Dorset coast, then transported by ship and cart, creating structures meant to last for centuries. A queue forms slowly outside the workhouse gates, people appearing gradually through the mist, each carrying their own burden of circumstance, but moving with quiet dignity. These are not broken people, but individuals facing temporary difficulties with courage and resourcefulness. The workhouse master appears at precisely 9 o'clock, his pocket watch clicking shut with metallic finality. Victorian institutions operate on rigid schedules, believing that routine creates stability. That predictable structure helps people navigate uncertainty, bread and soup for those who work. His voice carries clearly through the still air. The terms are simple: 4 hours of labor in exchange for basic nutrition. The arrangement serves both practical and philosophical purposes, ensuring that help strengthens rather than weakens character. You join the queue, feeling the warmth of other bodies nearby, human proximity creating invisible comfort. The person ahead of you shifts slightly, making room, a small gesture that acknowledges shared humanity. These moments of consideration happen constantly, creating webs of mutual support. The work today involves sorting rags, separating wool from cotton, linen from silk, materials that will be sold to paper mills, textile factories, giving discarded cloth new purpose. Your fingers learn to distinguish textures, to recognize quality, to find value in what others have discarded. The repetitive motion becomes meditative. Sort, fold, sort, fold. Your mind begins to quiet, focusing on the immediate task, finding peace in simple productivity. The work connects you to centuries of human labor, to the basic satisfaction of accomplishing useful tasks. Around you, others work with similar focus. An elderly woman hums softly while sorting, her voice creating gentle melodies that blend with the sounds of rustling fabric. A young man works quickly, efficiently, his movements creating their own rhythm, contributing to the peaceful atmosphere. The morning passes slowly, measurably, marked by the gradual shifting of light through tall windows. Victorian architects designed these buildings to maximize natural illumination, understanding that daylight affects both productivity and mood, creating spaces where even difficult work feels bearable. At midday, bells ring again, signaling the meal break. You file into the dining hall, a long room with wooden tables and benches. The architecture creates natural acoustics that soften conversation, make voices blend into gentle murmur rather than harsh noise. The soup arrives in metal bowls, vegetable broth with pieces of potato, carrot, onion, simple ingredients transformed by cooking into nourishment. The bread is coarse, but filling, made from flour that includes more grain, providing substance if not luxury. You eat slowly, appreciating each spoonful, each bite of bread. Victorian manners emphasize deliberate consumption, taking time to properly taste food, to acknowledge its value, to show gratitude for what is provided. These rituals create dignity from simple acts. The warmth spreads through your body, not just physical heat, but the deeper satisfaction of hunger addressed. Nutrition provides more than calories. It offers hope, energy, the biological foundation for optimism. Your spirits lift with the rising warmth in your stomach. Conversation flows quietly around you, people sharing information about work opportunities, places to find shelter, strategies for stretching limited resources. This exchange of knowledge represents a form of wealth, experience and wisdom passed freely between strangers. A woman mentions that the match factory is hiring, piecework that pays threepence per gross, dangerous labor involving white phosphorus, but income that can mean the difference between survival and destitution. Such choices define daily existence for London's working poor. Another person speaks of a boarding house with rooms for fourpence per night, clean straw, protection from weather, better than sleeping rough but still requiring careful budgeting. Every decision involves calculation, balancing immediate needs against future survival. You listen carefully, filing away information, creating mental maps of possibility. In Victorian London, knowledge often matters more than money. Understanding where to find work, shelter, assistance, can spell the difference between thriving and merely enduring. The afternoon work period begins. With renewed energy, the soup and bread have provided fuel, both physical and emotional. Your hands move more deftly now, your mind clearer, better able to focus on the task at hand. Sunlight begins to penetrate the fog, sending shafts of golden light through the workhouse windows. These beams illuminate dust motes dancing in the air, creating natural entertainment. Beauty that appears spontaneously, costs nothing, enriches everything. The light reveals details previously hidden, the grain of wooden tables, the texture of stone walls, the expressions on fellow workers' faces. Everyone looks more relaxed now, fed and warmed, ready to complete their tasks with satisfaction rather than desperation. Your pile of sorted rags grows steadily, wool in one basket, cotton in another, linen carefully separated. Each piece represents part of someone's life, clothing that provided warmth, protection, perhaps even beauty before being discarded, now finding new purpose through your careful attention. The work creates unexpected satisfaction, the pleasure of completing tasks well, of contributing useful labor, of earning rather than receiving charity. Victorian society emphasizes these distinctions, believing that dignity comes through effort, that self-respect requires personal contribution. As afternoon progresses, the light changes quality, becoming warmer, more golden, streaming through windows at lower angles, creating dramatic patterns on walls and floors. The workhouse architecture frames this natural light show, turning utilitarian space into temporary cathedral. You notice how your breathing has synchronized with your work. Inhale while sorting, exhale while folding. This natural rhythm creates internal calm, connects physical labor to deeper peace, transforms necessary tasks into meditative practice. The woman beside you begins humming again, a melody that others gradually join. Voices blend harmoniously, creating spontaneous music that makes work feel lighter, more joyful. These moments of collective beauty arise naturally, reminding everyone that human creativity persists regardless of circumstances. Time passes more quickly now, marked not by clocks but by the gradual completion of tasks. by the increasing warmth as bodies work together in confined space, by the growing satisfaction of productive accomplishment. Victorian work culture understands these natural rhythms. Structures labor to flow with human energy rather than against it. The final hour brings a sense of completion, not just of tasks, but of contract fulfilled, dignity maintained, sustenance earned rather than received. Your hands have learned new skills. Your mind has found peace in focused activity. Your body has received nourishment. As the workday ends, you receive your remaining portion, a small loaf of bread to carry with you, insurance against evening hunger. This bread feels precious, not just for its nutritional value, but for what it represents, proof that you can provide for yourself through honest labor. You step back into the late afternoon street, feeling stronger than when you arrived. The fog has mostly lifted, revealing London in sharper detail. But somehow the city looks kinder now, more manageable, filled with possibilities rather than obstacles. Your penny remains in your pocket, joined now by the bread, creating a small portfolio of resources. Not wealth by any measure, but enough to continue, to face evening with confidence, to sleep knowing that tomorrow offers similar opportunities. The cobblestone seems smoother under your feet, the air clearer in your lungs, the sounds of the city more musical. Work has transformed your perspective, reminded you that challenges can be met, that dignity survives even difficult circumstances. You walk slowly, savoring this feeling of accomplishment, watching the late afternoon light paint London's brick buildings in shades of gold and amber. The city breathes around you, thousands of people completing their own daily struggles, creating invisible networks of mutual survival. Your footsteps echo peacefully on the stones, each step carrying you forward into evening, into rest, into the satisfaction of a day lived with purpose. The gentle rhythm lulls your mind, prepares your body for the restoration that comes with earned sleep. Your eyelids grow heavy as you walk through the golden afternoon light, feeling the smooth cobblestones beneath your feet, carrying your small loaf of bread like a treasure. The daylight grows softer, warmer, more peaceful, wrapping around you like a blanket woven from satisfaction and hope. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. The moral and social dilemmas you find yourself in Covent Garden as evening approaches. The great market halls echo with the soft sounds of vendors closing their stalls, wooden crates being stacked, canvas covers drawn over remaining goods. The day's commerce winds down with gentle efficiency, like a clockwork mechanism settling into rest. The architecture soars above you, iron pillars supporting glass roof panels that filter the fading daylight into patterns of soft gold and shadow. This market hall represents Victorian engineering at its finest, combining beauty with function, creating spaces that serve commerce while inspiring the soul. Your bread rests securely in your pocket, alongside your penny. These modest resources feel substantial now, proof of your ability to navigate London's complex social geography, to find sustenance through honest effort, to maintain dignity despite circumstances. A well-dressed gentleman walks past, his silk top hat gleaming, his wool coat tailored to perfection. The contrast between his circumstances and yours could hardly be greater, yet he nods politely as your paths cross, a small gesture that acknowledges shared humanity despite different social positions. This moment crystallizes one of Victorian London's most striking features, the proximity of wealth and poverty. Grand mansions sharing streets with cramped tenements, expensive carriages passing workers walking to distant jobs. The city's geography forces all classes into daily contact. You pause beside a fruit vendor's stall, where bruised apples sell for a halfpenny each. These damaged fruits offer the same nutrition as perfect ones, but their blemished appearance makes them affordable for workers like yourself. Beauty and utility don't always coincide. Sometimes imperfection serves practical purposes better. The vendor, a middle-aged woman with kind eyes, notices your interest. "Good eating in these," she says quietly. "Just a bit of rough handling in transport." Her voice carries the gentle accent of rural Kent, reminding you that London draws its people from across Britain, creating a tapestry of regional voices and traditions. You consider the transaction carefully. The halfpenny represents half your remaining wealth, but the apple would provide immediate nutrition, vitamins and minerals that bread alone cannot supply. In Victorian London, such calculations happen constantly, each purchase weighted against alternatives. A child approaches the stall, clearly hungry, but with empty pockets. The vendor glances around, then quietly hands the child a small apple. "Eat it quickly," she whispers. This act of kindness happens beyond official charity, representing the informal networks of care that help London's poorest survive. The scene presents you with options. You could purchase an apple for yourself, following purely practical logic, or you could buy one for the child, whose need appears greater than your own. Or you could pool resources with others, creating shared solutions to individual problems. These decisions reveal the moral complexity of poverty. When resources are scarce, helping others means sacrificing personal security. Yet community survival often depends on mutual assistance. The calculations involve more than mathematics. They require weighing present need against future uncertainty. You watch as other customers make their own choices. A woman buys vegetables for her family's dinner, counting coins carefully before each purchase. A man selects items that will stretch furthest, choosing quantity over quality. Each transaction represents a small moral universe, individual values expressed through economic choice. The evening light grows softer, streaming through the market. Hall's glass panels at lower angles, creating cathedral-like effects as sunbeams illuminate floating dust and market steam. This natural lighting transforms commercial space into something approaching sacred, beauty emerging from purely functional design. A street musician begins playing violin near the market entrance, his melancholy melody drifting through the vast space, adding layers of emotional resonance to the practical business of buying and selling. Music costs nothing to hear, yet enriches every transaction, every interaction, every moment of human contact. The violinist is elderly, his clothes worn but clean, his instrument clearly cherished despite its age. He plays not just for coins, though those are welcome, but for the pure pleasure of creating beauty, of contributing something intangible but valuable to the community's daily experience. You listen as the melody weaves between market sounds, the rustle of paper, quiet conversations, footsteps on stone floors. The music doesn't dominate, but rather harmonizes, creating a soundtrack that makes ordinary activities feel more significant, more connected to deeper human experiences. Several people pause to listen, their faces showing appreciation for beauty that transcends immediate circumstances. A gentleman drops a sixpence into the musician's hat, a generous gesture that represents genuine appreciation rather than mere charity. Art creates connections across social boundaries. You approach the musician, not to give money you cannot spare, but to offer something more precious: attention, genuine appreciation for beauty created and shared freely. He nods gratefully, understanding that recognition sometimes matters more than coins, that being truly heard represents its own form of wealth. The music continues as you walk deeper into the market, past stalls selling everything from ribbons to remedies, from books to boots. The diversity represents London's position as center of global trade, goods flowing in from every corner of the empire, creating opportunities for both commerce and moral choice. A bookseller arranges his wares by lamplight, volumes of poetry beside practical manuals, Charles Dickens novels next to religious texts. Education and entertainment mingle freely, knowledge available to anyone with literacy and a few pence. The democratizing power of print culture transforms Victorian society slowly but steadily. You pause before the book stall, drawn by titles that promise escape, enlightenment, connection to minds across time and distance. Poems by Tennyson, threepence. The seller announces softly, literature priced for working people, making beauty accessible beyond aristocratic circles. The moral calculus shifts again. Threepence could buy sustenance, but it could also purchase food for the mind and spirit. In Victorian philosophy, education is seen as pathway out of poverty, investment in future possibilities rather than immediate comfort. The choice between bread and books reflects deeper questions about human needs. A young woman beside you purchases a penny newspaper. The Times costs threepence, but working-class papers offer news, stories, serialized novels for a fraction of that price. Information and entertainment flowing democratically through society. Literacy becoming power available to those who can read. The newspaper seller, his voice carrying the musical cadences of street commerce, calls out. Headlines that blend global politics with local gossip. Parliament debates factory conditions. New railway opens to Brighton. Missing child found safe in Whitecapel. The world condensed into affordable portions. These fragments of news remind you of your connection to larger events. Your individual struggle exists within broader currents of social change. Factory reform movements, educational expansion, gradual improvements in working conditions, history moving slowly but perceptibly toward greater justice. A commotion near the flower stalls draws your attention. A child has been caught taking wilted blooms from the refuse. Flowers deemed unsaleable but still beautiful. The flower seller faces a choice: pursue prosecution or show mercy. The decision will affect not just the child, but the moral atmosphere of the entire market. They're only going to the dustbin anyway. An observer murmurs, child needs beauty same as anyone. Another voice, property is property. Can't have folks taking what isn't theirs. The crowd divides, not into rich and poor, but into different philosophies of justice, mercy, and social order. The flower seller, a woman whose weathered hands speak of years handling thorns and petals, looks at the child's face, sees hunger there, but also appreciation for beauty. After a long moment, she hands the child the wilted roses. Next time, ask first, she says gently. This resolution satisfies multiple values: mercy tempered by instruction, property rights balanced against human need. The market crowd disperses, the incident becoming part of the day's store of stories, examples that help people navigate similar, future choices. You walk away from this scene feeling something shift inside. The flower seller's choice reminds you that even in constrained circumstances, moral agency remains. Individuals can choose kindness over harshness, understanding over judgment. These choices multiply through communities, creating the moral climate in which everyone must live. The market hall grows quieter as evening deepens, vendors completing their final sales, counting the day's takings, preparing for tomorrow's commerce. The rhythm of closing creates its own peaceful music, wooden shutters sliding, canvas rustling, coins clinking as they're sorted and stored. A lamplighter begins his evening rounds, climbing a wheeled ladder to reach gas fixtures. His flame transforms each lamp from cold glass to warm beacon. This daily ritual marks London's transition from day to night, from the public sphere of commerce to the private realm of rest and reflection. The emerging lamplight creates new beauty, casting golden pools that merge with natural twilight. Shadows become softer, more mysterious. The market hall transforms from utilitarian space to something approaching enchantment. Ordinary commerce elevated by extraordinary light. You realize your penny has become more than currency. It represents choice, agency, the power to participate in society's moral economy. Whether spent on food, donated to need, or saved for tomorrow, it carries weight beyond its copper content. Each transaction becomes a statement of values. A group of workers passes, heading home after 12-hour shifts in factories along the Thames. Their faces show fatigue, but also satisfaction of honest labor completed. These are the hands that build Victorian London, that operate the machines, construct the buildings, maintain the infrastructure that makes civilization possible. Their conversation drifts past discussions of union meetings, mutual aid societies, ways that working people organize to protect their interests. These informal networks provide security that no individual wage can supply, community becoming a form of wealth more valuable than money. The evening air carries new scents: coal smoke from domestic fires, brewing hops from riverside pubs, the green smell of river water. London's signature atmosphere emerges as day workers return home and evening activities begin. The city's rhythm shifts, but never stops. A church bell chimes 7 times, marking the transition hour when public spaces begin emptying and private refuges fill with people seeking rest, warmth, companionship. The sound echoes off market hall walls, creating moments of shared temporal awareness, everyone pausing briefly to acknowledge time's passage. You find yourself walking toward the market's exit, your day's journey nearly complete. The bread in your pocket feels substantial, earned through honest work. The penny represents tomorrow's possibilities. These modest resources feel sufficient, not for luxury, but for dignity, for continued participation in the human community. The violin music follows you toward the street, its melancholy beauty creating a soundtrack for reflection. The musician's gift to the community continues, asking nothing in return, trusting that beauty itself justifies the effort of creation. This faith in art's value transcends economic calculation. Outside the market hall, gas lamps line the street, like golden sentries, their light creating safe passages through gathering darkness. Victorian London invests in public illumination, understanding that shared light serves everyone's security. Community infrastructure built from collective resources for collective benefit. Your footsteps echo differently on the evening street, less sharp, more muffled by the day's accumulated dust and moisture. The sound blends with other pedestrians' movement, creating gentle percussion that accompanies the city's transition from day to night. You pass a pub where warm light glows through etched glass windows. Inside, voices blend in conversation, laughter, the clink of glasses, working people gathering after labor, finding community in shared space. These establishments serve as informal social centers, places where democracy happens over pint glasses. The penny in your pocket could buy a glass of gin, temporary warmth, brief escape from daily pressures, but you walk past, choosing the longer view, saving resources for tomorrow's challenges. This decision represents victory over immediate impulse, evidence of moral strength developed through adversity. A night watchman begins his patrol, his lantern casting moving shadows as he checks shop doors, ensures security. His presence reminds you that London never truly sleeps, that systems of protection operate continuously, that individual safety depends on collective vigilance. The evening grows cooler, but your body has adapted to London's climate. Learn to find warmth through movement, through layers of modest clothing, through the internal heat generated by purposeful activity. Physical resilience develops alongside moral strength, both necessary for survival. You realize the day has taught lessons beyond mere survival. It has demonstrated the possibility of maintaining dignity while accepting help, of contributing labor while receiving support, of making moral choices even within material constraints. These insights feel more valuable than coins. The night air carries sounds of domestic life, windows opening, conversations drifting from upper floors, babies crying, then settling, mothers singing lullabies. These intimate sounds remind you that behind every public struggle, private lives continue, families caring for each other, love persisting despite difficulty. Your walking has become meditation again, each step carrying you not just through physical space, but through the moral landscape of Victorian London, a city where individual choices aggregate into collective character, where personal dignity affects community health. The bread in your pocket seems to grow warmer, heated by your body, by your satisfaction at having earned it honorably. This warmth spreads gradually, not just physical, but emotional, spiritual. The deep satisfaction of maintaining integrity while meeting basic needs. Your eyelids grow heavy as you walk through the gentle evening light, feeling the smooth cobblestones beneath your feet, carrying your earned bread and saved penny like symbols of hope. The gaslight grows softer, warmer, more golden, embracing you like recognition of a day lived with honor. You drift into a deep, restful sleep. Survival or defeat, you wake gently as the first pale light of dawn touches your small window. Another London morning unfolds slowly, softly, wrapped in the familiar embrace of river fog. The city breathes quietly around, you preparing for another day of endless possibility. Your hand finds the bread still resting beside your pillow, solid proof that yesterday's struggles yielded sustenance. The crust feels firm under your fingers, promising nourishment for the day ahead. This simple loaf represents victory, small but genuine, over the challenges that define life for London's working poor. The penny waits patiently in your pocket, unchanged but somehow more significant after yesterday's journey. It has witnessed your moral choices, your moments of compassion, your decisions to maintain dignity while accepting necessary help. Now it carries the weight of experience as well as potential exchange value. Outside your window, the familiar sounds of morning commerce begin their gentle symphony. Horse hooves on cobblestones, cart wheels rolling over wet stones, voices calling familiar greetings. The rhythm comforts like a lullaby, reminding you that life continues, that today offers new chances to thrive rather than merely survive. You rise slowly, feeling strength in muscles that yesterday moved with determination through London's challenging social landscape. Your body has adapted, learned to find energy in hope as well as food, to discover warmth in community connection, to generate resilience through moral choice. The mirror on your wall reflects someone changed by experience, not broken by hardship but tempered by it, like metal strengthened through careful heating and cooling. Your face shows the quiet confidence that comes from meeting difficulty with integrity intact. You dress with the same careful attention as yesterday, but now each garment carries additional meaning. The wool dress that protected you during long hours of work, the cotton chemise that provided comfort during moments of uncertainty. These simple clothes have become armor, practical and symbolic protection against an indifferent world. The fog outside moves with its eternal patience, transforming harsh architectural lines into soft suggestions, making the demanding city seem more forgiving, more navigable. This natural phenomenon serves as daily reminder that perspective can transform reality, that even unchangeable circumstances can appear different depending on atmospheric conditions. You break your bread slowly, appreciating its texture, its substantial weight in your mouth. its ability to satisfy genuine hunger. Victorian nutritionists understand that bread provides more than calories. It offers psychological comfort, the deep satisfaction that comes from meeting basic human needs through honest effort. Each bite connects you to vast networks of agricultural production, wheat grown in English countryside, harvested by seasonal workers, transported by railway to London mills, ground by water-powered machinery, transformed by bakers who rise before dawn. This single loaf represents thousands of individual contributions to collective welfare. The morning light grows gradually stronger, not harsh or demanding, but gentle and encouraging, streaming through your small window to illuminate familiar objects with new clarity. The wooden floor, the brick walls, the simple furniture, all appear somehow more substantial after yesterday's validation of your ability to navigate London's complex social geography. A knock at your door interrupts these peaceful reflections. You open it to find the child from yesterday's market, the one who received the flower seller's kindness. Mrs. The child says quietly, "Got word there's work at the jam factory, making labels. They're a hiring today." This information represents something precious. Advance notice of opportunity, shared freely by someone who owes you nothing, but recognizes mutual benefit in community support. The child's gesture demonstrates how kindness multiplies, creating networks of reciprocal assistance that help everyone survive. You thank the child, pressing a small piece of bread into eager hands, completing a circle of generosity that began with the flower seller's mercy, continued through your attention and appreciation, now extending forward through your own ability to share resources, however modest. The jam factory lies across London, a journey that will require careful planning, strategic use of your remaining penny, decisions about timing, route, presentation to potential employers. These calculations feel familiar now, part of your expanding expertise in navigating urban survival. You set out through streets that have become more familiar, less threatening. The cobblestones feel steady under your feet. The fog parts naturally as you walk. The sounds of waking London create encouraging rather than overwhelming atmosphere. Experience has transformed your relationship with the city from adversarial to collaborative. The omnibus costs a halfpenny, but walking saves money while providing time to think, to plan, to observe the gradually changing neighborhoods as you move from residential areas toward industrial districts. London's geography tells stories, reveals social structures, demonstrates the connections between different forms of work. You pass the workhouse where yesterday's labor earned yesterday's sustenance. The building stands solid and permanent, offering predictable help to those willing to exchange effort for assistance. This institution represents Victorian society's attempt to balance individual responsibility with community support. The river appears through morning mist, its ancient current carrying the weight of commerce and history. Steamships and sailing vessels share the waterway, representing different eras of technology, different approaches to harnessing natural forces for human purposes. Progress moves gradually here, preserving useful traditions while adopting beneficial innovations. Factory chimneys rise ahead, releasing streams of white vapor into gray morning air. These industrial structures represent employment for thousands. Economic opportunity balanced against environmental cost, the calculations that define modern urban life. Individual benefit weighed against collective impact. The jam factory announces itself through sweet aromas, fruit essences, sugar, the complex chemistry that transforms raw materials into preserved foods. Your stomach responds to these scents with interest rather than desperate hunger. Evidence that yesterday's earned meal has provided genuine nourishment. A queue has formed outside the factory gates, other workers seeking the same opportunity. Each person carries their own story of struggle and hope, their own calculations about risk and reward. Together, you represent the vast pool of labor that powers London's industrial transformation. The foreman appears, evaluating potential workers with experienced eyes, looking for signs of reliability, skill, the ability to maintain quality while working quickly. His decisions will determine who eats tonight, whose families have security, whose children can afford school rather than factory work, label pasting, piecework, farthing per dozen, steady hands required. His voice carries clearly across the waiting group. The terms are simple: payment based on productivity, success dependent on individual effort. This arrangement appeals to your developing confidence in your own capabilities. You join the successful applicants, filing into the factory's warm interior. The building hums with machinery, human voices, the productive energy of organized labor, hundreds of people working together, creating products that will appear on tables throughout Britain. Individual effort aggregating into collective accomplishment. Your workspace consists of a wooden table, bottles of paste, stacks of colorful labels, towers of glass jars waiting for identification. The task requires precision, attention to detail, steady rhythm, skills that you discover you possess, capabilities revealed through opportunity to demonstrate them. The work begins slowly, carefully, each label positioned with mathematical precision, then gradually develops into flowing rhythm. Hands learning efficient movements, eyes recognizing perfect placement automatically. The transformation from conscious effort to unconscious competence happens naturally, pleasurably, around you. Other workers maintain similar focus, creating collective atmosphere of productive concentration. Conversations flow quietly, sharing information about techniques, family news, plans for spending hard-earned wages. These exchanges build community while maintaining productivity. The morning passes marked by gradually accumulating piles of completed jars, each one representing a farthing earned. Progress visible, measurable, encouraging. Your hands move steadily, confidently, finding satisfaction in work that contributes real value while providing genuine compensation. At midday, factory bells ring, signaling meal break. You join others in a large room where workers share food, stories, laughter. The atmosphere feels celebratory rather than desperate, evidence that honest work, fairly compensated, creates conditions for human flourishing. Your remaining bread tastes even better shared with fellow workers, accompanied by stories, jokes, planning for afternoon productivity. This communal meal demonstrates how individual resources, pooled and shared, create abundance beyond their simple mathematical sum. The afternoon work continues with increased confidence. Your morning's learning now applied automatically, hands moving efficiently, while mind appreciates the satisfaction of mastering useful skills. The completed jars multiply steadily, representing growing financial security, tangible proof of your ability to thrive in London's economy. Fellow workers share techniques, shortcuts that maintain quality while increasing speed, ways to reduce fatigue, stories about other employment opportunities. This informal education creates human capital more valuable than wages, knowledge that will serve you regardless of future circumstances. The factory's rhythm becomes hypnotic, hundreds of workers moving in synchronized effort, individual contributions harmonizing into collective productivity. You find yourself part of something larger, more significant than personal survival, participating in the great project of industrial civilization. As afternoon light begins to fade, your completed work stacks impressively, representing a full day's honest labor, compensation that will provide tonight's shelter, tomorrow's breakfast, perhaps even small luxuries like soap, tea, the modest comforts that transform survival into living. The foreman counts your output, nodding approvingly. 18 dozen completed. Well done. That's 18 pence earned. Would you like steady work here? The question represents transformation, from daily uncertainty to predictable employment, from surviving to planning, from hoping to achieving. You accept, feeling something fundamental shift inside. Not just circumstances, but identity. From desperate job seeker to valued employee. From dependent on charity to contributor to community. The change runs deeper than economics, touching core questions of human dignity and social belonging. The other workers congratulate you, welcoming you into their community, sharing advice about factory routines, neighborhood resources, ways to make wages stretch further. This acceptance creates wealth beyond monetary compensation, social capital that provides security no individual savings could match. You walk home through evening streets that now feel different, not threatening but familiar, not challenging but navigable. The gaslight seems warmer, the fog more protective, the sounds more musical. Success has transformed your relationship with London from adversarial to collaborative. Your pocket holds 18 pence, more money than you've possessed in months, enough for a week's basic sustenance, with remainder for small improvements, soap for washing, tea for warmth, perhaps even a penny newspaper for entertainment. Prosperity feels possible, sustainable, achievable through continued effort. The historical reality of Victorian London for the working poor was harsh. Life expectancy for manual laborers averaged just 16 years in the 1860s. 40% of the population lived in overcrowded conditions. Child mortality reached 30% in poorest neighborhoods. Yet within these statistics, individual stories of resilience, community support, and gradual progress provided hope. Your experience represents one possible path through this challenging landscape, demonstrating that while systemic poverty created enormous obstacles, individual determination combined with community support could overcome seemingly impossible circumstances. Dignity could be maintained, agency preserved, progress achieved through incremental steps, the workhouse, the market, the factory. These institutions provided structure within which personal effort could yield meaningful results, not perfect systems, but frameworks that allowed moral choice, rewarded honest effort, created opportunities for gradual improvement. The evening air carries new significance, not just oxygen for breathing, but atmosphere for celebration. You have proven something important to yourself, demonstrated capabilities you didn't know you possessed, discovered reserves of strength that will serve you regardless of future challenges. Your small room welcomes you with new warmth, no longer refuge from hostile world, but base of operations for continued advancement. The familiar objects, bed, table, window, now serve someone with prospects rather than someone merely surviving. The space has been transformed by your success. As you prepare for sleep, the day's events arrange themselves into lessons learned, skills acquired, connections made. Each challenge met has increased your capability for meeting future challenges. Each moral choice has strengthened your character. Each small success has built foundation for larger achievements. The question posed by your experience echoes through Victorian London streets, whispers through its fog, resonates in its church bells. If you were in this situation, facing such challenges, making such choices, what would you do? How would you balance individual need against community responsibility? Where would you find strength to continue when circumstances seemed impossible? Your journey suggests answers. Dignity can be maintained through honest effort. Community support multiplies individual capabilities. Moral choices create character that transcends circumstances. Hope persists when nurtured through small daily victories. Progress comes through persistence rather than dramatic transformation. The fog outside your window moves with eternal patience, transforming the harsh city into something softer, more forgiving. Your breathing slows to match its rhythm. Your heartbeat synchronizes with London's ancient pulse. Your consciousness merges with the great human current that flows through these streets. Tomorrow will bring new challenges, new opportunities, new chances to demonstrate the resilience you have discovered within yourself. But tonight, you rest in the satisfaction of a day lived with integrity, of challenges met with courage, of progress made through persistent effort. Your eyelids grow heavy as you lie in your small, warm room, holding your earned wages, surrounded by the gentle sounds of London settling into sleep. The fog drifts peacefully past your window. The gaslight flickers gently in the street. The city breathes slowly around you. You drift into a deep, restful sleep, knowing that you have survived. And more than survived, you have begun to thrive. In the great, challenging, beautiful city of Victorian London, where individual effort and community support combine to create possibilities that transcend the sum of their parts. Sweet dreams of tomorrow's potential. of continued growth, of the endless human capacity to adapt, to overcome, to find meaning and dignity even in the most challenging circumstances. You drift deeper into peaceful, restorative sleep.